All right, so today we'll be looking at a radon system that's actually inside of a crawl space. This is a conditioned crawl space. We're gonna jump down here today. I'm gonna walk you through and show you what we're doing and why we're doing it. So let's get started. All right, so we are on a job here in Middleton, Idaho, and I'm standing actually inside of a crawl space. This is gonna be a conditioned crawl space on a custom home. And what you're seeing is a 4-foot stem wall that's sitting on top of a 12-inch deep, or the thickness of this footing is 12 inches deep. And then it also is about 2 feet wide. This is an 8-inch stem wall that you can see. So we don't have any vents. So you can see all around behind me, there's no vents that you typically see on a normal crawl space in a home. And the reason why is going to be a conditioned crawl. So it's actually going to have air that's from the home that's actually circulating down here and exhausting out of this space. And one of the things we want to make sure of is we want to make sure that radon is not an issue. So we tested this property had a basement on it before. We got an air things, it's a radon tester. We put it in here and we actually monitored what was in the radon that was in the basement. And this is during the winter months, which is a good time to actually do that because things are closed up and you get that some of the, the air that's coming out of the ground into the house, and you can get those radon levels a lot better during that time. So we did that. It was about a 1 or so, which is really not that high, but we want it to be almost 0. So what we opted to do is put in a radon system. And this is going to end up being an active system. It could be passive, but we're putting it in right now. So the way that we've done this is, if you look behind me, you see all this. This is actually perforated pipe that is down here in the that's actually in the crawl space. And then we have this stack that goes out the top. So the stack is where everything vents. But if you look over here, what we've done is this pipe right here has holes in it all at the bottom. And we turn this so these holes are actually down. We put in 3 inches of this 3/4 inch washed rock that's here. It's crushed and it's washed. And this gets dumped in, and we have a 3-inch bed, right? And we have a 12-inch thick footing. So we have that 3-inch bed, and then we throw this perforated pipe on top, and we connect it with 90s in the corners. And then we have these T's here on the ends, or like where it T's here in the middle. And then you can see over here, we actually have like a 4-way T out in the middle behind me. And then that's the stack that comes up, because we measured where that's going to come up inside of a wall. And then that made sure that's coming up in the right spot. So it's going to actually go out and terminate. And we'll put a fan up in the attic that's out of the actual conditioned space of the home. And then that'll exhaust out the top. So once we get this 3-inch bed and then we put this 4-inch perforated pipe in here, what happens is we're going to go ahead and now throw more rock on top of this. So this is actually fully embedded in rock. So you'll have about 2 inches of rock on top of this pipe, and then that leaves it down. If we're looking back at this footing here, that leaves us down about 1.5 inches from the top of the footing. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to take we're going to take 1.5 inch rigid insulation, the closed cell insulation. We're going to put that on top of this. So you cover this rock. And then on top of that, we're going to throw a 15 mil vapor barrier that'll go on here, maybe like a Stego wrap. And then we're going to bring that up over here. It goes up on the footing. It's going to roll up, and we'll seal it to the sidewalls. And then we're actually going to frame a wall. We'll put a Jiffy seal or some type of a membrane here that'll self-seal. We're going to put some bolts down and bolt the wall here and do a little stem wall that are like a pony wall on the side of the stem wall. And then the trusses, the floor trusses, will actually sit on that. And then they clear span this whole room here, this 28-foot span. So that's how this is set up. But what happens is, by putting that vapor barrier, you put the closed cell foam down so you don't essentially punch any holes. That vapor isn't laid right on the rock. And then that keeps that from actually punching holes right in the plastic by having it on that rigid foam. And once we have that vapor barrier down and we're sealed, we'll use like a Sega tape, sealed up nice and tight to the concrete. So everything below grade is sealed off. Okay, so the vapor barrier has closed it off. And now what we do is, with this stack, this pipe over here that's coming out the stack that you can see here right behind me, what ends up happening is you can use a passive system, and to where this would actually just the stack effect from cool air rising, a cool air coming in from the bottom and the hot air rising, it's going to pull this air up and out. So you create a negative pressure underneath the slab, or essentially underneath the vapor barrier. This could be underneath the slab if it was in a basement. And then that would go up and out the top of the house and take any radon with it, so nothing's getting into your home. All right, so if we want to have an active system, it's not just passive, we can get an April air fan that we can put in here, and they come in, you'll actually go into the bottom of them with, most time they're a 4-inch inlet on the bottom of these fans, and then those will exhaust out. You put those actually up in the attic, so it's pulling a negative pressure and then pushing it out out of the conditioned area of your home, and then that actually vents out the top of the roof. So, and that allows all of this radon or any radon that's in here to get out of the home and not come into the house. So it's really important that you get the seal on the exterior of the stem wall done really nice and tight, so you don't have, like, there's no leakage. So the other thing too we're doing, just to make double sure, is this cold joint down at the bottom of the stem wall, we're caulked on the outside too because of our waterproofing. But what we're going to do is we're going to caulk the inside too, just to make sure we're totally good and we're not pulling any other air from outside the backfold area that would be above the actual vapor barrier, and pulling that into this space, into the crawl space, where it'd be in the conditioned space of the home. All right, well, hope you learned something about radon systems. If you're needing help building a custom home, make sure to go to our website at freemansconstruction.com. If you're needing help buying or selling real estate, be it a home or land, visit our website at freemansrealty.com. Have a great day.